How about you? We're going to put could be one of the most dangerous things on our tractor today. You know, a lot of people have issues with them. A lot of people have good success with them. So we're gonna take care of that today. We're gonna put them on there. I've used them in the past, and with no problem whatsoever. But there's some people that's had problems with them. But we're gonna put on. With that being said, we got to put the loader on Elon and the TYM T754. Get it on there. Get the bucket off of it. Put the bucket in the truck. Get the things hooked up. All right, here we go. So down here in sunny Florida, it's the 1st of March, and the weather is absolutely gorgeous. So I'm hoping you guys have some good weather as well. I love spring. Spring's probably my favorite time of year. Some people like fall better than they do spring, but down in the south, spring and fall is kind of hard to beat. You know, you get those cooler temperatures, and you can be outside all day. But so what we're going to do is first we got to put the loader on, because I've got to take the bucket off the tractor and put it in the back of my truck. And I've got a friend that's going to help me weld some stuff up. So I'll ease on into the loader here, and then go from there. This is always the fun process, you know. Easy. And look over here. Okay, it's just barely in the saddle. There we go. All right, so it looks like it's in the saddle. I cut this off because we're gonna have to hook up our hydraulics. And I got my cord tie. These are reusable zip ties. They're made in USA. You can save 10% with HF Outdoors at cordtie.com on these things. But I'm telling you, I bought these a month ago probably, and it's unbelievable how much I use these things. But we'll see if we can use them to square away these hoses once we get everything put up. But we'll do that here in a sec. One good thing about this loader is it is super easy to put on and off. There's really nothing to it, you know. I might need to go. No, I got enough room there. You just match up the colors on the quick connects and go at it, you know. Really, really simple. If you ever have your loader not working properly, just double check that your quick connect couplings are, no kidding, inside, secured properly inside the coupler, because seems to be a common problem. All right, now we should be able to manipulate the loader to get it inside the saddle and put the pins back in it where it needs to be. Now go do the other side. Easy cheesy. Do the other side. If you are using a nice flat level surface to put your loader on and off with, it's very easy. But if you're using like just your backyard or whatever, you may run into a little more issues. These things come in 2 different sizes. Reusable. I'm a fan. I think my hookups are right here. It's gonna back up just a little bit. All right, so let me back up. Let's see, that lift. Nope. So I had to switch I had that red and black one opposite is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, okay. Okie dokie. Let's back here. Make sure you close your door when you're in the pole barn and are using and have your doors open. Because you will for sure bust out some glass, Camo. Man, this thing looks so much different with that loader on it. That you ain't drove it with a loader in a while. I was like, holy cow, that's a big loader, dude. All right, so let's do something right quick that will help us in the long run. What we're gonna do, if you haven't figured it out yet, is we're gonna put some things on here that might be super dangerous for some people, are super useful for, well, it's useful for everybody. But we're gonna put these grade 70 hooks on here, right? Chain hooks can be dangerous. And we are going to, no kidding, I don't know if this makes a difference or not, but I'm going to make it in line with my loader arms. You know, people say that helps with the distribution of the load or whatever. I don't know, whatever. But I'm going to make a mark on this bucket so that it's in here. And then while I'm at it, I'm going to take my red marker and fix that hose, that quick connect, so that I don't mess it up again. Here's the red one. Red. How's that? Red. I need to get, so that's green, so black is white, and yellow's yellow. So I can take my white pen and put black across there. But I think we're good now. But anyway, so now I can take my red marker here, and this is where we're going to put the hook. Right here. There don't have to be a science to it. We're just going to distribute the load evenly. Okay, now I'll just take the bucket off. I think I don't have a spare flat bar piece of metal, but I think my buddy that's going to weld them for me will. And so we'll probably put the hooks on like a piece of flat bar, and maybe even weld something under it. What happens is this. See, that weld was not good enough to hold these hooks. See where the hooks broke? Same thing on this side. The hook broke off. Would a plate have fixed that? Maybe not. I don't know. But we may or may not put a backing plate on it. But you try to lift too much and the hook is going to snap off, and that's where things get dangerous, right? All right, let's get this thing loaded up in the whole F350. I went to Harbor Freight and I bought a big grab hook as well, and I'm going to put it in the middle. You know, we decided we're going to put the chain hooks here. Let's measure the center, and I'm going to put a big grab hook in the middle. It looks like it's got a bow in it right there, doesn't it? Let's see. Hold on a sec. It does. Look at that. See the gap? That's interesting. But I'll put the grab hook in the middle here. Sometimes you just need, so we'll call it 83. It's really 83 1/4. So really, y'all, I'm making a video and look what just happened. A bird pooped on my doggone shoulder. You see that? That doggone bird pooped right on my shoulder. Doggone that bird. I don't know what half of 83 1/4 is, but it's 43 and more than a half. So let's go right there. That's where the grab hook will go. All right, cool. Some people call it like a clevis hook, but you get the point. I'll show it to you here in a minute. But let's unload this and get it put in the bed of the truck. Well, let me tell you what my bright idea was that I'm not going to do. Whew. I thought I would put it long ways, back my truck up to it, and slide it into my tailgate. This thing's heavy. So I'll use the chain hooks on my other tractor, lift it up that way. Sucks getting old on it. This chain may not be long enough. Let's see. I could get closer, I guess. Or put it on one. I kind of want to put it on two, but I might just have to put it on one hook. All right, let's try that without, see if I can do it without denting the bed of my truck. All right. I curled that up so that the chains will rest against the lip of the bucket. All right, pray for me that I don't hit my truck. It just stinks doing it by yourself, you know? Um, you know what, for sake of safety, I think I'll just I was trying to set it up right, but for sake of not trying to hit my truck, I think I'll just let it sit like it is and then try to flip it over while it's in the bed without the tractor here. Maybe that will reduce my risk of accident. Yeah, I'll just leave it like that, I think. But we talk about how dangerous chain hooks are. You know, that wasn't a lot of weight, but if it would have broke, it could have dropped on my truck, caused a lot of damage to the truck. If someone, you know, hopefully no one's ever under a load, but if it dropped on someone's head or something like that, it could have been dangerous. And also how I tilted that bucket back. I'm trying to, what my thought process was, and you guys leave a comment, but my thought process is if I tilt the bucket back and put the stress on the lip of the bucket, I mean the contact of the chain on the lip of the bucket, that takes the stress, some of the stress, off the actual hooks itself, because now the a friction point is on that lip of that bucket instead of on the hooks of the hooks, or the choke of the hook, I guess you say, or whatever it's called. But anyway, does that make sense? Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? I want the lip of the bucket to bear the weight of the load, not the actual chain it hooks itself. Maybe that's a better way to say it. Anyway, let's get this thing off here and let's get it down the road and let's get some hooks welded onto this new bucket. All right, made it over to Jess. We got the bucket turned over. If you've been watching videos a while, you recognize Jeff from some other videos, but now we'll just sand her down and weld her up and take her back to the house. All right, let's get this hammer knocker off here and get it out of the bed of the truck using the new hooks. Come on. I just have to be careful with that because the way the hooks and the opening is. Oh, let's see if I can. I'll put the middle one through the middle one here, and that might help. Try it like that. Yeah, that'd probably help right there. Having that center hook like that. Let's try to raise her up. There you go. Looks like it's holding pretty good. Success! That's good, especially when you got a pretty expensive truck. Kind of worried about if you're gonna hit it or not, you know what I mean? Let's get it painted up, shall we? Painting this white line on this bucket and my loader has been one of the handiest things I've done. All right, let's get this painted. Okie dokie. Just like factory. Really why these chain hooks are so dangerous is there's 3 or 4 big reasons, I think, right? One, you may get a false sense of security that you can lift more than your tractor can handle just because you've got it secured by a chain. So let's say you got cargo that's 5,000 pounds and your tractor can lift 2,500. Well, you think, well, I can chain it and, do a mechanical advantage or something. And you may run the risk of damaging your loader. Number two, is if they aren't welded good enough, you have the potential to lift a load, a heavy load, and that the weld break on your hooks, and then you drop the load and damage the load, hurt someone or something like that. And that's what happened to my skid steer bucket that I showed you earlier in the video, where I picked up an object that was heavy enough to break the welds, and now that was totally 100% my fault because I'm not a welder. And that's why I really that's why I took this over to Jeff, because I want him. He done a fantastic job on it, right? So you've got a false sense of security, you've got bad welds, and then 3, you may not secure it properly. And if you have your hooks in here, maybe you got 3/8-inch hooks, but you got or a 1/2-inch hook, but you got 3/8 chain, something like that, then you may run the risk of the chain slipping through the hooks or not being secured properly in the throat of the hook. There's all kind of things to think about when you're putting hooks on the tractor bucket. And it's, the strength of the bucket has a lot to do with it too. We mentioned that earlier in the video. So you're going to I highly recommend doing it. Just be smart about it once they're on there. Or if you bought a used tractor that's got hooks on it already, just be smart about how you use the hooks, because it can get away from you in a hurry if you're not careful. And I think that having these hooks on here is going to adds a lot of versatility to your tractor. and you can get a lot of things done, you know, when you got this hook on here, and you can move things, slide things, you can do all kind of things with it that if you didn't have hooks on it. Leave a comment below. If you do not have hooks on your bucket, and have you ever been in a position where you're like, dang man, if I had hooks on my bucket, I could have done this task a little easier. I bet every one of you watching have said that before. And if you do have hooks on the bucket, have you ever experienced a time where you dropped a load or done something that was kind of dangerous? Because it can be that way. I appreciate you guys watching. Read your Bible today. God loves you. I'll see you on the next one.